Welcome to Lesson 13 of the Wycliffe Australia Story of the Bible online comprehensive course. In this lesson, you will take the storyboard you drew for the Resurrection Ascension story in Lesson 12 and begin to tell the story, moving from location to location in the story and imitating the emotions of the speakers. In this lesson, we will also consider two important topics. Firstly, how will you open the story, and secondly, how will you close the story? Every storyteller needs to begin his story by getting the attention of the hearers. Clifford Warren, in the book How to Hold an Audience Without a Rope, says, when a speaker stirs up our curiosity, we listen, we give him our attention. In that book, the authors list 4 different ways of getting attention. Threatening news. Imagine you've just heard that one of your close friends has betrayed you to your enemies. This statement could lead into the story of Judas betraying Jesus. An intriguing question. Has anyone ever tried to bribe you to give false evidence in court? This question could lead into the story of the guards who accepted a bribe to tell everyone that the disciples had stolen Jesus' body. An appeal to selfish interests. Suppose you were at a friend's house and the doorbell rang and you overheard, "This is the police, we have a warrant to search your house and to arrest you." Would you be tempted to slip out the back door? More shocking facts. Did you hear about the innocent man who was condemned to death? This could lead into the story of Peter's release from prison in Acts 12, where the innocent guards were executed. Acts 12, verse 19. The closing sentence or two of a story is also important. How does the biblical author close the story, and how will you close the story? It is important to know when to close a story so that the closing sentence completes or complements the theme of the story. In this lesson, we have 3 sections. In homework assignment A, you will craft several different openings to the Resurrection Ascension story. Remember, your goal is to catch the attention of your hearers and also direct them to the theme of the story. Then you will also craft a suitable closure for the story. Then you will practice telling the story. In homework assignment B, we read the final chapter of Making Disciples of Oral Learners. This final chapter is a kind of review of how Bible storytelling is being used by different organizations around the world. The authors conclude, with the insights gleaned from research and collaboration, Christians have the opportunity to reach in our generation the billions of unreached people in the world, headed for a Christless eternity. Oh Lord, may that be true in our generation. Text Boxen homework assignment C will give you a reflect on testimonies of 3 Bible storytellers in Northeast India. My prayer is that Lesson 13 will be a great encouragement and blessing to you as you develop and practice the Resurrection Ascension story, and as you reflect on how God can use you to be a shining witness for Jesus in your corner of the world. Now, stay online for 2 more video segments. Until next time, God bless.
When we craft a Bible story, our goal is to make it memorable. So we want the story to be as compact as possible. We want our stories to be simple, accurate, and memorable. To do that, we need to identify everything in the story that is not directly connected to the theme of the story. We call these things unnecessary details. Unnecessary means that we can tell the whole storyline without including these details. For example, in the paralytic story, the storyline has Jesus forgiving and healing a paralyzed man. It has nothing to do with Jesus getting a boat and crossing the Sea of Galilee. But when we read the story in Matthew's Gospel, he says, Jesus stepped into a boat, crossed over, and came to his own town. These are unnecessary details to the paralytic story. When we read the same story in Luke's Gospel, he tells us that the Pharisees and teachers of the law had come from every village of Galilee and from Judea and Jerusalem. Those details are also not relevant to the theme of the story. Leave them out. In your resources file, you will find a sheet about removing unnecessary details.
I remember on the second biblical storytelling workshop that I ever went on, at the end of the workshop, right near the end, we were sent out in pairs to go and practice our Bible stories, and by offering to tell these stories to people in public spaces. So I was partnered with a fellow named Wayne, who I'd never met before that weekend, and we went to a park, and there was a man and a lady sitting at a picnic bench at the park. And after praying, we went and approached this man and lady, and we said, "Oh, hi, we've just been doing a workshop learning to tell Bible stories. Would you be interested in hearing one?" And the man didn't seem interested at all, but the lady said, "What religion are you?" We said, "Oh, well, we're Christians. They are Bible stories." And she said, "Yeah, but what religion? Are you Catholic, you know?" Well, I'd never met Wayne before, so I said, "Well, I attend the Church of Christ, and Wayne here, and he said, "Oh, well, I go to a Baptist church." And she said, "Oh, so it's not just one church, it's many different churches." And we said, "Yeah, this workshop is for all sorts of Christians from anywhere. It's just training people to take a passage in the Bible and tell it as a good story. Would you like to hear one?" And she said, "Is it from the Old Testament or the New Testament?" Well, she obviously knew more about the Bible than I thought when we first approached her. And so I said to her, "Well, I know I've been working on a story from the Old Testament this workshop, and Wayne has been working on a story from the New Testament. You choose." And so she said, "Oh, I don't really mind." So I let Wayne tell his story. And I hadn't registered before I offered for Wayne to tell his story, but his story was actually the story of Jesus' trial and crucifixion. So Wayne told the story, and this lady was listening intently as he told her, and at the end of the story she said, "You know, I'm a teacher, and when the religious instruction teachers come in, I wish they told Bible stories like that, because then the kids would stay interested." And so we started chatting with her about her life as a teacher, and after a bit of chatter, which her husband joined in occasionally, but stayed out of a lot, she invited us to come and sit down at the picnic table with her, and continued chatting, and heard a bit about the travel that she and her husband had done, and then she asked us about what we'd been doing and why were we doing this workshop at all. And in the course of this conversation, both Wayne and I had a chance to tell her the story of why we're followers of Jesus, and Wayne even had the chance to share his testimony, which included a miraculous healing. And we had the chance to talk about lots of deep spiritual matters, which we never would have had the chance to if we hadn't gone and offered to tell a Bible story. Sometimes we expect people not to be interested in hearing about the Bible, but sometimes telling a Bible story opens up the opportunity to have a deep spiritual conversation.